All right, guys, welcome to the Investor's Guide to Memphis Real Estate. I'm Dean Harris. Douglas Skipworth, how are you, man?
Hey, man. Doing great.
Douglas is joining us as always. We're bringing you the podcast to give you the boots on the ground information to be successful as a real estate investor here in Memphis, Tennessee. Our information is below there. If you want to send me a quick email, dean@crushcore.com. I'm happy to help you with anything there. I also help buyers and sellers. One thing that I'm starting to tell everybody here is that if you're selling or buying anything in the city of Memphis, I'm happy to help you, give you free evaluations on your property, or get you a CrushCore Realty buyer profile set up. So let's jump right into today's topic, build your team. We're getting most of my calls. We were talking about this just before we started to record here. Most of my calls, time, efforts, and energies now are focused towards investors that haven't purchased anything yet. They are coming into the market pretty quickly and rapidly, which is great. We've got opportunities that are here that are making sense. A lot of people might think, what about the market? What about it's actually going. Of course, sales are down everywhere, but they're not plummeted.
No, it's better than it was last month.
Better than it was last month. My team is busy, and we are getting better and better deals as the weeks go along. So as if you've listened to this podcast religiously, you've heard me talk about how I think in 2023, we're going to see some more deals, and they're already beginning to get here. So we thought the last couple of times we did, Douglas, the do's and the don'ts of real estate investing,
for the first
how to
timers.
get into it, and things that you should certainly do and things that you should certainly not do. Today is going to be a little bit more geared towards building your team. We're going to build a team today. We're going to show you, again, some of this is very basic, but if you're new to real estate investing, these are things that you need to go by. I mean, this is you're going to hear me read these things off and go, oh yeah, you should do that, of course. But I want to put them all down. I want to have a recording of it. That way we can reference this and go back. When you think of building your team, what's the first thing that pops into your mind as a new real estate investor?
First, as an old investor as well.
Yeah.
It's the very first thing, and we'll talk about this. It'll come up. It'll be a theme. There are no bad teams, only bad coaches.
That's true.
So we'll talk about that. There are no bad teams, only bad coaches. That's
NFL's
real important.
full.
That's real important.
Yeah.
So what it really talks about, what it really makes me think about as well is the framework that we talk about in my mind of deals, financing, and management. And so of how when you're a real estate investor, you got to have deals, you got to have financing, you got to have management. Management to me is everything regarding now you own the property. You own the property.
What are you going to do?
Now what? And so to your point is I think of that framework of okay, who do I need on my deal team? Who do I need on my financing team? And who do I need on my boots on the ground team?
Yep.
And so that's
that
financing, that's deals, that's agents. That's how am I going to source property? That's how I'm going to insure it. How am I going to close on it? Am I going to do a rehab? Am I going to do a property management?
Just anybody and everybody that would have anything to do with your business, right? And it's important to me. Not a lot, but a few of my investors kind of do this along the way, or they did it along the way. I'm not saying you can't piece it together along the way, but in my mind, the guys that are the most successful have the majority of this lined up before they make a purchase. I'm not saying you got to have everything lined up, but you need to have a basic structure here of what we're going to go through lined up before / as you're purchasing your first rental property. I don't think you've got to have your insurance company lined up months in advance, but I think you need to know pretty much the direction you're going to go in. That way, when you get something under contract, it's not hey, let me go search for this now. It's, I'm going to use A or B here. Which one's it going to be?
Right. At least pencil stuff in.
That's
at
what
least
I'm
have some references, some referrals, have somebody that is going to fill that in. And I think the last preface I would say, and this is my soapbox, where I'm like, Dean, I am tired, man. I am tired of passive investing.
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as passive investing. There's less active investing or more leveraged investing, and not leveraging the time in financing, but leveraging time and effort. And that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
We're talking about less active, more leveraged, building your team. You're hiring people. You're leveraging other people's time and
teams.
And your team is built on other people's time.
Yes.
Right. And you're paying for that. And that's what we're talking about. You're building your team so that you can have a less active investment.
Yes.
In That's super important. And you're the coach, which again gets back to that, what we're going to talk about as coaches. So you are putting your team together. You choose your team.
Yes.
You pick your team. So real estate investing is not passive. There's no such thing as a passive investor. You have to be a coach.
Yes.
You have to be somewhat active. But if you're a good coach, you get really good players.
Manage the manager.
You manage the manager.
You've heard all the phrases that you can go and do. But so to me, as you've talked with you being the investor, you probably own your own home. You've probably got in the car with a real estate agent and driven around and looked at properties. I would assume, hoping that agent's a good agent, the first thing that they're going to have you do is go get pre-approved for a loan.
Yes.
If you're obtaining a loan.
For sure.
We need to know what that's going to look like. The same way you do when you're looking at your residential home, the same thing. You need to know what it's going to look like to borrow money for this investment property. The terms of investment deals are not the same as your regular residential home in most cases. They're not the same. So you need to find out what this looks like, interest rate standpoint, payment, how many years you're going to finance it for. There's definitely a bunch of different ways that you can do this, just kind of like you can do your own personal home. But there are a lot of different ways to structure this. A bank, a mortgage company. There's a lot of things that people like. You need to understand the difference between a bank and a mortgage company.
Yeah.
A mortgage company is just typing all your info in and then they're going to hit enter. Yeah. There's a big green light on the screen. You get a loan. If there's a red one, you don't. There's no thought. There's no consideration to your business really whatsoever. Your bankers and your, guys that are smaller local people go in, shake a hand. This is what I'm trying to do. Those are where I tend to advise clients to go to if we can find those when borrowing for investment deals. Now, if you're going to buy a home that's in great shape, that doesn't need a lot of work, and you're just going to put 20% down, your traditional mortgage company can handle that, right?
Yeah.
But if there's any rehab or if there's any kind of kinks in the system or whatever, your local bank is probably going to be where to go. Agree with that? I mean,
for sure. Yeah. Hard money loan, hard money lender. We can talk about all those.
Yeah, so we can even move into that.
Are you... So the conversations you're having with first timers is get financing, or get your financing lined up.
Whatever it's going
to be. I think what I'm hearing you say is that you have to have that money lined up. If you desire without the dollars, so to speak, is going to lead to frustration. Like if you can't find deals and then you can't figure out how to finance them. So this is old school. Big Daddy Kane, he said back in the day, the romance without the finance is a damn nuisance. So that you got to get your money lined up. And I think that's what you're saying.
Yes.
Get it on the front end so that then you can go and make offers. We'll get to that confidently. And we're talking cash or credit, right? The ideal is to buy with cash or with a line of credit, so that you can make cash offers.
And there's different advantages to both. I mean, and so get it right here. I don't care what we do, I just think you need to get it situated up front. Line of credit, I'm going to use this.
Correct.
A loan, I've already talked to the banker. We're good to go. I just got to find the right property or whatever it may be.
How are you going to pay for the purchase? That's why I talk about it as like a big, that to me is of the stool, the three-legged stool, financing is number one.
Yeah.
Deals, financing, and management.
Because none of this, the rest of this we're going to go over.
You can look at deals all day long, but if you don't have money to pay for it, what are you going to do?
That's why I started off with my first word on here is banking.
Yes.
I mean, you've got to begin there.
Yeah. How are you going to pay for the deal? Yeah. I mean, you're going to send them great deals.
Yes.
And how are they going to pay for it? And I think that's your point. You can use a bank. You can use a traditional mortgage. You can use private money. You can use hard money. You can use owner financing.
Yeah.
You could potentially use a national lender. There are a lot of different ways to finance property.
And we spoke about this in our previous podcast here about hard money and private money. How to finance a deal. We just did one of those.
We can talk about that all day long. Have tons of experience doing it always, doing it the right way, doing it the wrong way. Have seen the good and bad. There are pros and cons of all of them.
Yeah.
There are pros and cons of all of them. So yes, get your financing lined up. You build your financing team.
I've already got my financing dean.
Okay.
I'm ready to go. Or Douglas, I'm ready to go. I've got my banker I've talked to. I'm approved for X amount. Now what do I got to find?
Deals. How are you going to look at what are the opportunities? Like, you've got the money. You got to find something to make an offer on.
So this is where, in the past, I have stayed very general, and I have said, "Hey, go find your agent." We're shifting a little bit of this because of some of the attention the podcast has got. I believe I'm your guy for this scenario. We source a ton of property in Memphis, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas. We are constantly digging, grinding, talking to wholesalers, insurance companies, bankers, whoever might have a property come up. It's one of the things that separates me from my competition, I believe, is that since we've started this and working here in 2012, wholesalers have been a massive part of our business. Now, part of my business running through the brokerage, I am able to talk to these guys, decipher what's good, what's bad. I don't ever want to make it come across like I'm down on a certain industry. But sometimes when you deal with wholesalers, because there is no governing body over them, you can be misled really easy. And
they don't have a license. They don't have a code of ethics, which separates them from real estate agents and even more so from realtors.
Yes.
We talk about that.
Every wholesaler is not bad. Every wholesaler does not run a poor business, but a lot do. And that is kind of what I'm here for, to kind of clean that up before it's presented to you. I do know some investors that go directly to wholesalers, and it never fails. Not every time, but it never fails. They usually buy something that they didn't think they were buying. Way more rehab, weren't told enough about it.
Wholesalers are merchants. They're in it for themselves, in the sense of they're representing themselves, right? A real estate agent is representing a buyer or a seller. And your duty as the agent is, the fiduciary duty is to the customer client in that relationship. That's the wholesaler's duty is to themselves.
100%.
And an agent's duty is to their client they're representing. So it is a big difference, which I appreciate you making that distinguishment. When you're looking for deals, you need to have a trusted source for deals, I think is what you're saying.
And I might not be everybody's, but that is the point. You need to go to a trusted.
You need to go to a trusted source. And that trusted source, to me, when we're going to talk a lot about this, when you're talking about trusted sources, I think of three things. I think of character, I think of competence, and I think of chemistry. So it's like, hey, is this person have integrity? Are they trustworthy? Are they truthful? Do they have the kind of character that I want to deal with? Are they competent? Do they have the experience? Do they deal with investment properties? Do they deal with residential properties? Do they deal with commercial? Do they own property? Let's talk about that. And then chemistry is like, hey, do I click with them? Did their work style and my work style mesh and jibe? And can we do business together?
Yes.
It's easy to, if you think in that little framework there, to assess people, especially if you look at the competence. Look at how many properties, like you mentioned, how many properties does that agent own? How long have they been an owner? Do they flip properties? Do they do buy and hold properties?
Because those agents are there. I'm one of them, but there are other agents that have. That's what my biggest. I'm not trying to interrupt, but I want to stop there and tell you.
This is what people
I can't tell you how important that is. And the only way I'm telling you how important that is from personal experience. In 2015, from 12 to 15, I sold this product not owning any. I was honest. I was forthcoming. I knew the city because of my experience. I'd already been in the business 12 years. So I knew the city and I knew everything about it, but I didn't own any. And during that time frame, I was selling them and selling a good amount of them and doing good work for clients. They were turning them around. But when I began to buy them in 15, my conversations shortly after there began to change. The dialogue between myself and the investor began to change. There became way more of a partnership buddy system that began to click. So when you talk, your last one was, what was your last characteristic? How you click with the investor?
The chemistry.
The chemistry. How you click. How you click. That began to really pop.
Because you can have an intelligent conversation about like, hey, I've used financing. I've used hard money. I've used owner financing. Hey, I look at deals in this neighborhood. Oh, I owned in this neighborhood. Oh, I used to. Man, I got burned doing the rehab. I bought I bought occupied property. I mean, on and on and on. Your experience, you're able to transfer that experience to people.
And what we really mean by experience is failures.
Sure.
I mean, I can give you some successes, but hell, everybody knows what successes are. I'm talking about how he failed. And I'm not afraid to tell you that. I mean, after the show, I'd be curious to see who will message me about this, but message me about 3934 Battlefield Drive.
Yeah. If I remember, it's like good decisions come from experience and experience comes from bad decisions.
Yes.
Yeah. And you've got a bunch, you and I both have a lot of experience.
Oh man.
i.e. bad decisions.
So I've made some bad, just rookie mistakes that I didn't lean on everybody and all that. But I'll be curious to see if anyone messages me about this. 3934 Battlefield. I'll be happy to tell you how I failed as my first one.
Please message. Yeah. Please comment and please send more questions.
Yes, I'm happy.
Absolutely.
That's one thing, a great thing to bring up. All right. So we've talked to Property Source. We've got agents, wholesalers, auction sites, Craigslist, Facebook. I mean, some of those are very risque.
Sure. Yes.
Some of that is going to lead to trouble.
Yeah.
This is why the trusted agent, person on the ground, is important to me.
It's like having a tour guide.
I even tell some clients this, and this, some other might shoot myself in the foot, but I don't sign buyer's agency agreements. Okay, I don't.
No, you let them work with whoever they want to work with.
I sign it on every deal because the Tennessee Real Estate Commission requires us on 123 Main Street to sign an agreement that says I can represent you. At the very bottom of it, I say this only applies to 123 Main Street.
Correct.
So I have to do that legally. But as I'm searching for you, I do not require buyer agency agreements that lock you into only receiving deals from me. So as I feel like I can prove it to you that, what I'm providing to you is worth sticking with us, right? So beware of those types of things. Beware of being pigeonholed. Beware of, somebody trying to control what they're doing with you. That's my only other kind of question I would ask other agents specifically outside of, do you own any rental property yourself? So I don't want to sign a buyer's agency agreement. And do you own property? I'd start with that. If you like what you hear there, keep going.
Yep.
That's my advice.
With that. I love it.
Next thing you're going to have to do, you've got your lending. You've already secured that. You now have a property you found and bought and we closed on it. Property management. That's the big thing. You're going to have a property manager to do this or to help you facilitate this if you're going to grow. Yeah. Can you manage one?
Yeah.
You can.
It's depending. Locally, hard. Locally, okay. Remotely, even more difficult.
Yeah, the tedious things that are going to be required to manage a property are going to drive you crazy.
Sure.
So you're going to need to find the right management company.
I'll tell you one thing, it's a lot less passive. If you're self-managing, because you're not leveraging other people's time.
No. When I'm talking to manage or to clients and they ask about management, what are some of the three things, like what are the most popular questions you would get? I know you don't get these now, but we as a company will get about property management. What's the first three questions or two questions? Whatever somebody's coming to ask you first, what do they typically
You need to
first?
ask them. You need to ask, if you're going to a property manager, you need to ask, what type of properties they manage, what locations do they manage, what rent range do they manage in.
That's huge.
So that you can see if what you are potentially giving them to manage is in their wheelhouse. Yep. That's what you want. You want it to be like on the dartboard. You want it to be in the bullseye or right around the bullseye. You don't want it to be an outlier like, hey, this house is off the beaten path, or it's really big or really small, far away, or it's a multifamily that they don't manage, or a small commercial. So you want it to be right in their wheelhouse. Something that they deal with all day, every day.
Yes. So there's one. I've asked those questions, where do you manage? What do you do? Construction. Some of them have rehab crews,
in-house. Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, that's right.
If you want to ask some of those questions there. All right. So now you're managing it. We can cut some of these will go a little quicker, but title companies, this is huge in Memphis. And do you have anything else to add on property management before we go?
Again, I would go with the 3 C's. I would look at their character, look at the competence they have, look at the chemistry. There are different property managers out there. Yeah. Find the one who is trustworthy. Find the one who's provides the services you want. But then find the one that clicks with you. There are lots of property management companies in town, just like Next, there are lots of title companies in town, lots of closing agents, lots of real estate attorneys.
On the title company thing, I will talk about this for a second because we do, because we have so much wholesaling business in Memphis, we have title companies that pop up, and even some that have been here for a while that are very
sleazy. I'll say it.
It is the truth.
I'm not afraid because it gets back to that. It's the first thing you look at is character. Do these people have character? No,
they want their $700 to close the deal, and no matter what, and they just push it through.
So you got to look at character and competence and chemistry, but you got to look at that because that's what I'm saying. There's a lot out there.
There are some title companies that are pretty slick. I love the word slick.
They're slick. Maybe oily. That's a better.
It's oily. It's oily at best. I mean,
we deal with that all the time, and on the card money lending side, with they missed that. They missed this.
Careless, sloppy work.
Because they're looking the other way to get some things done, which shouldn't. Anyway,
yes,
we can go on to that.
No, that's exactly right. They're looking the other way so they can get something else done. And if it popped up later, there's a gray area there for them to say, well, we weren't aware. Or we did. So anyway, it's very,
got to deal with high integrity, thorough people who do a great job on that.
We have 2 companies that we close with. Griffin, Clift, Everton, Maschmeyer, and we've got local title with April McDowell. Either one of these companies, super high character, very good with closing investment deals. I would recommend them, even if you're not using me and you find someone else. Those 2 companies are very good. I do not get the sloppy.
No, they don't miss stuff. No, and with them, you get, again, when you're looking at the kind of the competence and you're thinking about experience, they're owner occupant residential deals. Those have kind of dried up a little bit now. Mortgage refinancing, all of that on your home owner occupied properties. Then there are commercial properties. These are the real estate transactions. And then there are investment property transactions. So that's what you're talking about. Find somebody who spends a bulk to majority of their time in investment properties. So from a closing attorney. And again, that to me, I'd probably, in my mind, I'm like, okay, that in my little net framework goes under deals. Because when you get your financing and you get your deal, you use them primarily to close the deal.
Yes.
You're not necessarily going back to them time and time again. If you had a title issue, maybe you go back to them someday. But for the most part, it's to close the deal.
And that's
but you put them on your team.
Yes.
Because
the recording,
once you close this deal, you're going to close another deal. And
so you need to build that relationship, have things recorded properly.
And they go hand in glove and work very closely with your property source, i.e. your agent.
Oh, yeah.
Your agent and your title company will work very close together through a transaction coordinator, and it'll be very, very seamless, but very important.
The next one is contractors.
Yes.
I don't think you can do anything without a good contractors. We have a good team here at Crestcore. We have a good team that we refer out. There's several different people I can refer you to from a contractor standpoint that will do a good job for you. This has been something, Douglas, that has been a crutch or a Achilles heel for a lot of investors over the years.
For sure.
Mom and pop construction companies are typically the ones that are going to let you down. And let me give you this scenario.
I'm with you.
We just been in this for so long that it's happened to all of us. I've been looking for contractors for years. We've got 2 good teams now that I can refer. But the biggest thing was the mom and the pop. They're always good up front every time. They're usually good on the first house, right? They're usually good on the second house, right? But as you're beginning to grow and build confidence in them, they're doing their other business and their other work too. I know this so well because this has happened to me, I swear, 20 times.
Yeah.
You give them 1 job, great. Give them 2 jobs, great. Give them the 3rd one, little hiccup or 2, but you look past it because the first 2 went well. Then all of a sudden you get another layer of confidence and you buy a 2-house package, right? And we need some work done, and mom and pop shop is going to do this work while they're doing some other things. Well, this is going to be this is when the relationship is going to deteriorate. I'm telling you, because I just said, I've been through this 20 times. They begin to become overloaded.
Yes.
They start robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yes.
All of a sudden they slow way down. Then there's a week or 2 with no work done. That means their money's dried up. Your money's dried up. They're going to come back to you shortly for another draw. You're going to get down to the end, and all of a sudden they're going to tell you, oh man, this is going to cost a little more than what we thought. Maybe it did, or maybe there was mismanagement of that throughout the process. I've run into that so many times that it almost gives me shakes and quivers to think about it. We have found 2 good teams now that we can refer and work with to eliminate this problem. This is the biggest issue, the biggest over any of this.
Yeah.
Construction. Yeah. So that is going to be something that you need to think about, work on, talk about how to manage that from afar. And I can get on the phone with you and discuss that and figure out how to do that. That is the biggest.
Cool.
Over the years.
And you're super experienced with that. And like you said, you can guide, you can mentor, you can coach people through that.
Yeah.
And again, just to beat that drum or dead horse again, but look for somebody who's licensed. Look for this is not a side hustle. Look for somebody, this is their job. Make sure they're doing investment properties, not residential rehabs or higher end stuff.
That's the wrong crew.
Wrong person.
They're good at what they do. They're going to show you beautiful pictures.
Yeah.
It's not the right crew for
a rental property. So there's somebody for you.
Yeah.
We got some, like you said, there are a few others out there that I've seen who do good work, but there are a lot who don't. And there are a lot who cheat you. There are a lot who steal from you.
Yeah.
There are a lot who leave you high and dry. And that is the first thing that will get, as far as doing that will get a first-time investor to a used to be investor quicker, the fastest of anything would happen.
I can attest to this a lot. And when I say mom and pop, kind of what I mean by that is if the guy's there and he meets you at the property to give you the rehab bid, and he's there swinging a hammer, and then he's sending you the invoice, and he's doing everything, he or she as an individual is going to fail.
They're just overloaded, and they're not leveraging their teams and time. They're not building their team.
No. Site managers on site.
Yep.
Project manager overseas, and then company owner over that.
Yep.
You need to find a company structure with that in order to succeed. All right, we've beat that up. Contractors are good. Insurance companies, this is light, but you definitely need to have an insurance company. You need to have a company that's used to dealing with investment deals.
Yes.
Or has an investment department. We have Insight Risk Management is a company that we've used for forever.
They're great.
They have an umbrella policy over all of my properties.
Same.
And they're good to work with. So there's another one, a State Farm guy I can refer. So
we've got a lot of, there's several and again, it's like all of them. You got to find, assess these people to get somebody who is competent, who deals with this, does this all day, every day, but then find somebody you click with. I mean, it doesn't have to, everybody have to use the exact same team.
No.
No.
I'm not I'm glad you said that. I'm not sitting here saying build a team of whoever I'm using. I'm just saying build a team. I can give you all the referral like that. A lot of people ask me that, like, we're a turnkey provider and you have to use everything.
No.
You have to use nothing. You don't use me. This is a open source of information. I'll give you everybody that I'm using in my business, and I'll get into specifics about my portfolio and size and all that on the phone. So I don't mind sharing that information with individuals either. So all of them I use and refer to you. You don't have to use any of them, but it's a great kind of baseline starting line to at least I'm comfortable referring them and I use them in my business, right?
And I think kind of where we started is like what I mean by there are no bad teams, only bad coaches. That means as the investor, I am responsible.
Yep.
I can't blame it on, I had a bad property manager.
Yeah.
I chose the wrong contractor. Yeah. My property source agent or whoever's not sending me any deals. No, you're the coach.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's your name on the property.
Yeah.
It's your business. This is your livelihood maybe in some cases, or this is your retirement in some cases, or whatever it may be. This is yours, an individual. Now, do people let you down along the way? Of course they do. But shame on you for either sticking with it or not working with them to correct your mistake.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. It is on you as the coach, as the owner, as the investor to build your team. And you pick your team.
Yeah.
Like you get to choose who you want. So this is not, you're stuck with it. If you don't like somebody or they don't work well for you, move them out, move somebody else in because you're the coach. There are no bad teams.
That was my reason.
I don't believe that.
I don't either. And that was my reason of saying you don't have to use it. Like, no, you build your team. right?
You will help them.
I will assist and do whatever I can, but ultimately it's your choice because you might not jive with every person that's on my list, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. The point to me is to tell you to be prepared. I'm telling you how to be prepared in a whole, not which companies to use or which not to use. I just want you to make sure that when you're running your business and you're beginning to build a sizable portfolio here, you've got the right partners, because I'm here to tell you it doesn't work without the right partners.
No, that's right. That's right. That's right. And you can't tuck tail and say, it was my contractor's fault. It was my property. And you have to look in the mirror and say, it was my fault. I got to build a better team. I got to improve this. I got to make this work, which again kind of takes us to me back to, this is not passive.
No.
It is less active.
Yes.
It's more leveraged, but you have to manage your business.
Even turnkey properties, you've got to manage them.
Even stock market portfolio, even a bond portfolio, even a CD in a bank, you have to go, I'm getting 3% on a CD and inflation's 8%. Am I really a good money manager? So you have to assess. You are the one responsible. So that is the encouragement that, hey, we're here to help though.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are people here to help navigate this and make it successfble.
We've built the last 3 podcasts around first-time investors. Next time we might take a break from it, but I'm going to stick with this for a while. I believe the new crop of investors coming in, they appreciate this information. They value it. My seasoned investors, you can, call me directly if there's something else that's a little bit more complex. So building your team, I'm glad we did this one. I think it's very basic stuff, but I do think it's good information to know that if you're a new investor and you got a call scheduled with me coming up, this is going to be one of the first things I'm going to send you to. I'm going to, send you some other videos to help you get sped up. But these are some things I'm going to send to you right off the bat. If you have questions about this topic or anything, you have anything else to add here?
No, and I would just say again to the experienced investor as well, like you have to be reminded that there are no bad teams, only bad coaches. Like every experienced investor has to believe that, because when you start blaming your team, you're going back to being a rookie. Like that's a beginner mistake to blame the team and not to blame yourselves.
The New York Giants were 4-12 last year, 4-13. And they changed coaches and they're 12-4 in the Final Four in the playoffs. So.
But they switched out all the players.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
Exactly.
So that's kind of that's a little bit of build your team.
Build your team.
I believe
it's as important as anything you do.
I 100% agree with that.
If not the most important.
Yeah. Thanks for your time today. Appreciate it. Guys, if you have any questions, dean@crestcore.com. I'm happy to hop on a call, answer any questions. I can send you this list. That's another thing that we're kind of going to start doing. If you want me to send you kind of this list or some of our vendor partners, shoot me an email outside of here. I'll be happy to do that.
Cool.
Good. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. See you next time.